Let's go. Let's go. Higher and higher. You did feel me with holy fire. Everybody sing along.
Hello and welcome back to Common Sense for Relationships. Yay! I'm so happy that you have joined us this evening. How are you doing? And how has the week been? I mean, another week has gone by. It's interesting because each time we come on another show, it means 1 week has gone by. And 2025 is not slowing down for
Rapidly
anybody. So I hope you are not slowing down, especially when it comes to matters concerning your relationship. So the last time we met, it was before Valentine's Day, right? Or was it right after Valentine's Day? Was right after Valentine's
Right
Day.
after Valentine's.
I hope you all enjoyed Valentine's Day. I hope somebody told you you're special. I hope you felt loved and appreciated. Some people are keeping face one kind, but it doesn't matter right now because we are here to have a wonderful time and answer a number of interesting questions that have come in.
Yes.
So this is Common Sense Answers.
Mhm.
And just in case you do not know, my name is Batures. I am a relationship coach and an author of 2 books, Husband Material, the book, and the workbook. So if you are looking for a practical guide that will help you find the love of your life, please go ahead and get a copy of Husband Material. Get the book and the workbook. There's a discount on the combo pack, okay? Now, if you have not yet subscribed to this channel, I'm just wondering what you are waiting for, okay? So just go ahead and subscribe so that anytime something new comes up from us, you will be amongst the first to
Remember to press the bell. Yes. Yes.
And while we go through this, if you hear something that really excites you, it's like, yes, please go ahead and like, and then share this video to your friends, to your loved ones, to your colleagues, to people you know need this kind of information to help them do better in their relationships. Because on this show, we bring you valuable information to help you make better decisions in your lives and in your relationships. We are particularly interested in your relationships because if you get this right in your relationship, you have solved a big problem for yourself for the foreseeable future. All right. So, Common Sense Answers it is today, and I am with my darling husband and co-host, Kingsley Batures. My husband from the north. Oh yes, I traveled far in this country and went to find a darling man whose name is White Man. And now he's doing, I said, what? You're not impressed by any of the things I'm saying?
No. I beg. I'm not in the mood. Valentine has finished. So now let's be real. Let's be real. Yeah, you are welcome. You are welcome to the show.
Yes.
So all I'm saying is Common Sense Answers. Valentine, let's tell ourselves the truth. What's the question you're asking? I will bring the answer that I have.
Okay.
If you don't like the answer, change channel. Okay.
So
Don't change channel.
So that means you people should get ready because the mood that he's in right now is the type where he'll be dropping it like it's hot, and it seems like you're not really going to be nice, and diplomatic about your answers today.
I don't know what they are going to ask. So me, I'm just here. I'm just here to talk. You talk, I came to talk. You are the show. You are the anchor. You are the host. Me, I just follow come.
All right. Okay. So first and foremost, before we get into the answers, I'd like to say welcome to you once again. And let us know where you're joining us from, because I really want to see. Please just type in the comment section where you're joining us from. Just put there Lagos, just put there Dubai, just put there Abu Dhabi, just put there Maldives, just put there
Doha.
South Africa, just put there, wherever you're just put there Abia State.
Mm.
Oh yes, the place where I look for good news in Nigeria. Yes, just put
Put ere akari akara akoko on those states.
put Ebute Meta and
Yeah,
so
just
on.
yeah.
Yes, we want to know where you're joining us from. Okay, I think it's time to get started.
Okay.
Welcome, Debbie. I know you're there.
Mm.
Welcome, everyone who's watching, everyone who's joining us live, and everyone watching after. And if you're watching after, just put in hashtag replay. We want to know that you came after, but you still got value.
Yeah.
I will start with the very first question.
Why are you doing it as if the question really heavy like that?
Wait now, you will see now.
Mm.
Because, you know, some questions are okay, and then some questions are
Okay.
All right, this first one says,
Mm.
how do I know that I am ready and right for marriage? Bam. How do I know that I am ready and right for marriage? Do you want to take a stab at it before I come in?
Come on. The way to answer that question now, if you
Mhm.
know, you know.
Yeah,
If you don't know,
you don't know.
forget about it.
Yeah.
No. So how do I know that you're right? There's no simple answer to that question, right? There's no one paragraph answer to that question. But there's a book that can help you. It's actually called Husband Material. So I would say get that book. In the book, there are certain assessments. There are certain guidelines that you can check off the list to know that you are ready. So you can gauge yourself, because it's like your own personal coach. But if I were to give you some things out of that list off the top of your head, off the top of my head, I would say, hey, do you know yourself? Number one, do you know do you know your identity? Do you know who you are?
Yeah.
Do you know what you are about? Right? What makes you tick? Right? What's your unique selling proposition? Those are all about around knowing you. And interestingly, there's a video that we did last week. Finding me. So the link for that video is also going to be put on this on the description after the show.
Yeah.
So you can follow the link, and you can, because we outlined a number of things. See, this year, I always say, if you're going to make a difference in your goals for this year, you have to be deliberate. You have to be intentional. You have to get business-like about the business of relationship, because relationship is serious business.
Yeah. And I'll take it from there, because when you're doing business and you're looking for a business partner, first and foremost, you need to know what's the business, okay? Then what do I have? What's my part? What can I contribute to make the business work? And then what do I lack that I need someone else to complement me so that we can together make the business work? So it's the same thing. What's your life about? What's your plan? What's your purpose? What's the agenda? What is it that you are living for? When you think about all of those things, your future, where you're going, you now think, okay, what do I have to help me achieve this? And then you think, what kind of person do I need to help me achieve this? So it's really important. That's part of knowing yourself. Okay, you need to know yourself, and then you need to know the kind of person you need to go on this life journey with. Somebody that will help you achieve that purpose, somebody that will help you fulfill it, rather than someone who takes you away from it, or somebody who impedes your progress, or somebody who completely stops you from achieving it. So find that. If you know that, it's an important starting point. Okay. Next thing, you need to make sure that you align with this person on a number of things. You know, recently I listened to Dave Ramsey, and he said, if you succeed in aligning with somebody, right, you discuss these things and you align with the person on a number of things that are critical, then to a great extent, you know, yes, it's likely that your marriage to that person is going to work. So after you have considered all the other things of, I love him, I like the way he looks, or, you know, I like the package, I like his, you know, outlook on life and stuff like that, please check. Do I agree with this person on how many kids we are going to have, and how we will treat them.
Mm.
You have to think, do I agree with this person on religion? Who we worship, who is the anchor for our lives, whose guidelines are we going to live by, make decisions by, right? And then you also have to look at money. How will you treat money? It's really important because you earn it. Yes. How do you earn it? How do you spend it? How do you grow it? What's your philosophy about money? Really important. These are critical things that you need to consider. So look at those things and then check. Final one, in-laws. How are you going to deal with in-laws? How are you going to relate? What's your plan for in-laws? His idea of how his wife should treat his siblings and his family, you know, does it align with yours? And your idea about how he should treat your family and so on, does it align with yours? Just all of that, there has to be alignment. If not, you're just creating a beautiful foundation for chaos after the marriage.
So
these are really important things that you need to pay attention to.
So if I was going to add something there, I would say this. If we go biblical,
Yeah.
for the woman, the scripture would say, God said to Adam, isn't it?
Yeah.
That I will make you a help suitable for you. So number one, for the woman, not number one, just to give you context.
Yeah.
For the woman, you are a help suitable for the man. So if you're a woman that is asking that question, what the scripture is saying there is, what kind of help are you?
Are you ready to help, Seth?
Number one, are you ready to help? You understand?
What
So
kind of
are
help?
you ready to help? And what kind of help are you? What kind of help do you provide? What kind of help will you be giving to any man? Those are things that, so I haven't answered if you are ready for marriage. You also, are you right? So to be right there is to say, are you ready to help? What kind of help can you provide to the man? It's like another scriptural way of saying, what do you bring to the table? Do you understand? So in this case, you're not the table, but you have to bring something. Now, on the man's side, he said something. He said, the Lord put him in the center of the garden to tend it and to keep it. On the man's side, check yourself. Have you been able to grow, tend, cultivate, nurture something? Something in your hand has grown. Something in your hands has produced. What in your hands has produced? Everything that has passed through your hand. Look at the pattern of your life. What has produced? What has grown? Do you understand? These are things that show your rightness and your readiness for marriage.
Yeah, I like that part. It's a huge responsibility for guys, right? Because you think about it, if you haven't been able to nurture something to the point where it is productive, to the point where it blooms, it blossoms, it flourishes, you know, it yields, it bears fruit and all of that, then do you not want to come and do experiment with somebody's daughter? So just think about it. There's a huge responsibility there, and you need to really check yourself. Am I ready for this responsibility? Don't think, oh, I'm just going to come in and whatever will be, will be. No, you have to come in with that sense of, I am responsible for this. I am going to make it work. I will steer this ship. I will deal with the different issues that come up in such a way that we succeed, myself and my wife. Okay, man has to have that. So because you have to tend and you have to keep. So you won't just say, oh yeah, the woman will sort it out. No, you also have a responsibility. So both parties need to check. Am I responsible enough? Am I good to go? Yeah, with this. Will I deal with issues as they come? Am I flexible? Will I adapt to different situations with the aim of making sure your marriage thrives, your marriage works, and both of you flourish in that relationship? So I think we'll wrap this up here. That's just fantastic. And I think it's time for us to take the next question. Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay, so the next question says, how do we know if we are looking for the right person in the right place? How do we know that we're looking for the right people in the right places? Yeah.
So for me, this one is pretty easy. Well, but they would like to say nothing good comes cheap. But I mean, I think I like to put it this way. I like the fact that you said the right person. Now, if you say the right person, it means that this person has certain features, certain characteristics, right? Now, my wife usually makes an example with if you want to buy iPhone. If you want to buy iPhone 16 original, you will definitely not go to Akwombo under bridge to look for it because they usually don't sell it there. It's not among the features of phones that they sell around there. Do you understand me? So it means that you must have looked at what the features of this right person for you. Now, when you've looked at the features, then I would say, can you create an avatar of what this person look like? Look in your circle, in your sphere of influence, in your spheres of connection, interaction. Exactly. There's those spheres, influence, interaction. Look around those circles. Who is the person that looks like who I'm looking for? It doesn't have to mean that that's the person, but these features that I've listed out about this right person for me, who looks like it? Even if the person is married or this thing, but is in your circle, you can say, okay, the person looks like that guy. So it's like creating an avatar of the person you are looking for. Now, when you've created that avatar, it will now instruct you on where to look. So I'll give another example, apart from the example of the iPhone.
Okay.
I'll give another example. If you have created an avatar for this person, and this person has the presence of maybe a chief executive, right? A chief executive officer. Where are the likely places you will find a chief executive officer, right? If you go to conferences, will you find him there? Yeah. Likely. Do you understand? If you go to
meetings where they're discussing
finance
issues of the
business
country.
growth and stuff, will you find him there? Yes. Workshop, yes. High profile sporting activities, will you find him there? Yes.
Because his opportunities to network.
The chances of finding him at Jibowu Under Bridge, where they are reading, where they have the Free Readers Association of Nigeria, where they read newspaper for free, standing to read newspaper, the chances of finding him there is very low.
But you can also find him in your religious circle, so in church,
in
the mosque.
Yeah, do you understand? So you can do you understand? But so building that avatar gives you an idea of who the person is. So that's your right person, and you just look, where will I find this kind of people? In the right places. There are some people that you have built an avatar of the right person, but you are still not going to the right places. Like somebody that is single, and the only places where you are going is marriage club, where the only people there are married people.
I mean, there's an instance of a young lady, very enlightened, very educated, multiple degrees.
Like a thermometer.
Just has not like a thermometer. Well, multiple degrees, upwardly mobile, doing well financially and stuff. And this person now happened to choose a church that was close to their house, maybe for convenience or something. But then it happens that there's nobody in that entire church that has a second degree. In fact, if they've tried, they have the first. So think about it. And this person is saying, I can't find a husband.
And you are not looking in that.
But the fact is, just your profile is way up here. For you to find somebody like you, unless the Lord decides to be merciful to you and brings maybe a missionary or a guest minister that is at your level, So these are important things you need to note. Or I always say, you are a young lady, or you want to get married, but you now go and join a group where everybody is already married.
That's why
and then you don't mix with other people at all. You just, service will close, you carry your bag and go home. How will you meet other singles like you?
If you're in church, expo, join Synergy, join ushers. You just be scouting people now.
So yes, all right. So please, those are a few. There's more, but we'll stop there for this question. All right, so I think it's time now for us to go on a break. See you shortly.
So I hope those answers that we've been given are making sense to you. Yeah, that's what common sense answers is about. We are not speaking plenty English. We're just putting it straight right out there for you to receive and work with. We're giving you bite size so that you can work with the answers that you're getting. Do you understand? So bring the questions on, okay?
All
and
right.
we can take the next question.
Okay, so the next question here is, how do we differentiate between healthy compromise and losing ourselves in a relationship?
If you don't know when you are losing yourself,
Mm.
then something is critically wrong.
Hmm.
How do I say this? I can explain the part of healthy compromise. But you see, the part of losing yourself has to do with identity.
Yeah.
It has to do with self-esteem. Has to do with personality. Those are critical issues.
Yeah.
So if you are losing yourself in a relationship, it's almost as if an abuse has already
is occurring.
Yes, an abuse is already occurring. So if that's happening, I don't even think you need rocket science for me to now be telling you anything about healthy compromise.
Yeah. And I like the way you bring identity right back. We talked about the core. I mean,
Yes.
for 2 weeks now, we've
Yes.
been talking about
The
core.
core.
And you need to know, if in your relationship you are having to change or suppress the core of your identity, then you are
It's a
then you are
no-no.
losing yourself.
Yes, you are losing yourself.
You're losing yourself because you are who you are, right? And regardless of how you say, oh, I love this person, so I will adjust and adapt and not do the things that I know the person doesn't like, if it means changing who you are or suppressing the expression of who you are, then soon enough you are going to be tired. Soon enough you'll be frustrated. Soon enough you say, I can't take this anymore, and you lash out and so on. You can't continue like that for long.
And I think we have to come to the place where we need to tell ourselves certain truths.
Yeah.
Right? When it comes to relationship, I will always say that marriage is an institution of compromise. However, it is not a compromise of values. It's not a compromise of standards. It's a compromise of preferences.
It's not a compromise of identity. Yeah.
So it means that if you are going into a relationship, you are going into a relationship with someone that can deal with who you are. But you see, the problem a lot of times is a number of people don't even know who they are. They think that who they have been conditioned to be is who they are. So somebody tells me, that's just the way I am. I have anger issues. Anger issues is not the core of a person. It's a character flaw.
That can be adjusted.
That can be dealt with. Do you get? But someone will tell you that that's who they are inherently. Nobody was born angry. Have you seen babies? you get?
Yeah.
So you find that so people take some of those flaws and attribute it to themselves. So you say, when I get into a relationship, I'm just trying to hang out. I don't want to get angry or offended, but because if I get offended, I'll scatter everything. That's just who I am. No, that's not who you are. That's just bad character that needs to be dealt with.
Yeah.
And you can have sessions with a therapist. We'll show you, we teach you anger management. So, but that's not your identity. We've spoken about your core. I think please, maybe you will help us flash that link on the screen, that topic, so they can go back to this channel and watch it again, talking about your core, finding me, your identity. Do you understand? So that you can go back and look at those things we pointed out and see yourself, who you really are, what makes you.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So that you don't mortgage that for anything.
Yeah.
Because anyone you get into a relationship with must be able to deal with you.
Yeah.
To
And
interact with you.
yes, and healthy compromise makes you better. Healthy compromise improves you.
Yes.
You know,
It
so
doesn't bring
healthy
you down.
compromise can look like, oh, do you know what, this particular hairstyle fits you best. You should do more of it. Healthy compromise can be something like, why do you keep doing making your clothes at this particular place? This tailor is not catching
It's not catching, it's not getting
your
you.
frame well.
It's not bringing out the best in
yes,
you.
try this other person, and
That's
person
healthy
does it.
compromise.
Healthy compromise that has happened in a relationship is you need to wear more heels than just this your comfortable flat shoe.
Yes, flat shoes. I
Heels
mean,
make
come
you
on.
look a little more
And,
professional.
and the interesting thing is that by the time she wears those heels, the skirt legs will just come out. You understand? But when it's on those flats, you're selling below your market value. That's healthy compromise.
Yeah.
Healthy compromise increases your confidence.
Yeah,
Oh my
healthy
goodness.
compromise makes you better. So
Yes.
just think about that. The compromise, if you're doing compromise and it's healthy, it has to be that it is making you better.
Yes.
Not that it is making the other person happy while you are suppressed and unhappy and angry, and not that it's just making us have peace at this point.
No,
but
no,
you are you understand what I'm saying. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we've done justice to that one.
Okay. On to the next.
On to the next question. Are you ready? So, so the next question is, what are some red flags? What are some red flags that indicate that we are making relationship decisions based on fear or insecurity rather than clarity? So how do you know? How do you read? What are the red flags, pointers that somebody is making relationship decisions based on fear or insecurity
That's an interesting
rather
one.
than clarity? So how do you tell? Because I know that the concern here might be with people who maybe say, I really want to get married. I've found somebody, and then they are wondering, am I settling? Or is this really what I want? Is this decision to marry this guy driven by fear of I may not find another person, or I'm too old, let me just marry this one and be done with it, and stuff like that?
Okay, so for those now, you have, I think you have the answer to that because it's in your book. It's in the workbook, right? So in the workbook, you can identify red flags.
Yes, and really, the workbook there's a part that really addresses fears, and something that most people don't do when they're talking about fears or addressing fears, they don't face the worst.
They don't look
case.
it in the eye.
Yes, you know how you say, what's the worst that will happen? Then walk backward. What's the worst that will happen? Then walk backward. What's the worst that will happen if I don't marry now? Is that I will stay for a few more years before I get married. Okay. Or it is that I may not find the kind of person I am looking for by the time I finally decide to get married, and stuff like that. What's the worst case? Oh, that your parents will continue to disturb you every time they call you and tell you you need to get married. So think of the worst case.
From the worst case.
Then walk back. Walk back to what can I do to prevent the worst case? Because the fact is, you need to take action.
You need to take action. It's not just
sit down and say, hey, I hope this doesn't happen to me and stuff like that. Take action. But you need to take the action that will prevent that worst case from materializing.
Mitigating factors.
Exactly. So if you find out that I'm not finding the right kind of person, the worst or something, the worst case is I may not get married, or I may end up marrying this person that I don't really like. What do you do about it? I need to find the kind of people I like. I need to find the right kind of person for me. Then you now sit down, okay, where can I find this person? And then you do your analysis and decide, okay, how do I connect with this kind of person? So it's you being deliberate. It's you saying, for instance, I go for a conference with my girlfriends rather than hanging around or sitting with them throughout the entire conference, which means you have not made any new connections. I will intentionally get up, walk across from table to table, introduce myself to a couple of interesting looking young men, because you know what you're looking for. So you're not randomly introducing yourself. That guy looks like it, that guy looks like it, and that guy looks like it. Walk across, say hello, small chit chat, exchange contacts, and so on.
You see this thing you are saying. I have to teach my sisters a strategy, because sometimes we feel like, oh, our culture is the men that have to do the finding. We women have to be found. Yes, that's our culture, right?
Well, you can position yourself to be found.
But my sister, I have read the Bible. There's one sharp woman called Ruth. Is it Ruth
Yes,
and
there's
Naomi?
Ruth. There's another
no.
one called, what's her name? Abigail.
So if you see, carry your Bible, Google it, go and find those two people. See, there's a way that she positioned herself that Boaz had to do the asking.
Yes.
She didn't have to ask him, but by the time she positioned herself,
He understood.
He understood the positioning, and he had to ask to fulfill what the culture demands. So, sisters, if you have seen what you are looking for, and it's really about knowing what you are looking for.
Yeah.
If you see what you are looking for, my friend, get up from among the girlies and approach the bench and spark up a conversation.
Yeah, and the conversation.
And the thing is, you are not making yourself cheap.
Exactly.
You spark up the conversation. You are bold. By the time you sound the person out. By the time you sound the person out, you can tell.
Yeah.
You can tell whether he's real, like you thought he is, or he's not. In which case, you still have the chance to walk away.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is that a number of people are wonderful, but nobody gets to discover how wonderful they are because they're not connecting with anyone. They're not discussing with anyone. They're not having conversations that will allow people to find out more about them. And even sometimes they have conversations, but they are not presenting the wonderful things about themselves in those conversations. So I'm not saying go and tell somebody, oh, you look like the kind of guy I want to marry. What's your name?
Have some steez now.
No.
Have some style.
No,
come on.
Hi, I've not seen you at this conference before. Is this the first time you're attending?
Yes.
And the guy says, oh, no, I came last time. Oh, yeah, this is the first one. You're like, oh, wow. Well, I do this every year, something. So you're showing that, hey, I'm serious about things like this. Or, in my company, we have to do so and so and so that we keep us. You've talked about the fact that you are in a corporate setting and stuff like so.
You've already set the stage.
And the person will say, wow, that was such a refreshing conversation and so on. All right. So please.
Finish the thought now. Finish the thought.
I finished the thought.
Okay.
I'll go to the next question now. Okay. So are you ready for the next question? Mr. Baturi, are you ready for the next question?
Yep.
And you
fire away.
Are you ready? Okay.
I hope as you are hearing the question, if you hear one that sounds like this thing, please carry the link and share it to your friends. Say, see this thing we're talking about that day. See the answer here. Share it.
Okay. All right. This one is interesting. And this person is concerned about personality types. Okay. Are certain personality types more compatible in relationships? Or is compatibility built through effort?
I can't say I understand the person clearly when he talks about built through effort. I don't know. I can't.
Okay, so let's tackle the first part. Are certain personality types more compatible in relationships?
Yes. Certain personality types are more compatible, but any personality type can actually marry any personality. Because you see, the interesting thing about personalities is that they are not designed, the personalities are not designed to make you say, oh, this one is better and this one is worse. Or to say, this one goes better with this. But you will find that certain personalities naturally flow with people with other personalities at another end of their spectrum. Do you understand?
Yeah.
However, the goal of personality discovery is actually to bring personality improvement that makes each individual a more rounded person, a more balanced person, a more empowered person.
Yeah.
That's the goal of personality discovery.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah, and I would like to give an example. So if you look at just let's keep it simple. My husband's personality, by default, he'll spot everything wrong in whatever you're bringing up, right? So as the conversation is happening, let's say we're trying to do brainstorming, we want to, just bring up all the ideas. As you're bringing each one, he's telling you what's not working about it. Do you understand?
People do me like this now.
That's my husband's personality. And let's use that as an example of personality. Meanwhile,
they are painting me bad now on national TV.
I am the positive, everything is going to be okay. I can come up with all the creative ideas. Let's do this. Let's do this. So why don't we? I can just come up with all of those things, right? And initially it was such a problem because as I am coming up with my nice and beautiful ideas, he's shooting them down. He's telling me why this won't work and why that won't work. And it used to be so annoying and so frustrating. But you know what happened? One day, I think I had a light bulb moment, and that must have been God trying to make sure this marriage works. Because what happened was, I just realized, look, this guy is telling you all the things that could go wrong. What if you guys leverage this particular
skill,
thing?
this thing.
Rather than look at it as a bad thing, he's always shooting down ideas. Look at it as he's pointing out all the possible things that could go wrong, and then put plans in place
to mitigate,
to make sure those things don't go
happen.
wrong.
Yes.
So I just turned him to my, yes, help us identify all the blind spots, help us identify all the issues that could go wrong, and then together we'll still use that same head that was identifying the wrong things. We'll collaborate and find the answers. So that's just how sometimes you can work with personalities that are a bit different from yours, or that some people will say, no, these two can never go together.
Yeah,
one person is an extreme planner, wants to be detailed about everything. Another person just wants to make the decision quickly. We are still here together.
I'll stay here together.
Yes, and we're working. So it's possible. Okay, yes. So I hope that's clear. We'll take another question. That I think this is quite interesting, and I'm enjoying this. Okay, who are you ready? And if you are currently married to somebody who is like the exact opposite of you, but somehow you guys have found a way to make it work, please just let us know in the comments.
Section.
You can even drop some examples for us. All right. So the next question here is, what are some practical ways to assess if a potential partner shares our core values?
Well, I think that's right up your alley.
Practical ways to assess if a potential partner shares our core values. And what you're looking for is core values. It's not just any and everything, but the core. So this is where you really need to know yourself. What are your core values? What are the core values? Inform how people act, how people respond, what they will do in different situations, and so on. So you now need to find out, is this person like me when it comes to these things? Because you're looking for synergy, alignment, oneness in approach, right, of core issues. Example, does this person stand for, let's say, integrity? Is integrity one of this person's values? Will they do the right thing all the time, regardless of the situation? Yeah. So it's really important that you know yourself and what your own values are, and you are now going to be testing if the person's values align with yours. And you can do that in different ways. So, for instance, just listening conversations. Their general gists, what are they saying? And you have to be listening, because this thing is not play. So you have to pay attention to make sure you're hearing them. When they say something, you're like, don't just say, oh, well, maybe it was this particular incident.
Don't
Take
assume.
notes that this person did this in this situation and it did not sit well with you. Pay attention. Listen to their conversations. Listen to how they reacted to something from what they are telling you. Next, bring them into your circles, right? People that are like you, people who have similar values with you. Bring them into that circle. Bring them into that community, and see how they act. In fact, your people will be quick to tell you when that guy misbehaved, or when he said something that didn't align, or when he reacted in a way that puts them off, you know? So it's really important, bring them. So that's where your mentors come in. That's where your friends, that's where some of your family members, or, people that you understand
that share your values. Exactly.
Really important. Then please go to different places. You can't always meet at a particular restaurant at a certain time. You will never know how the person behaves at other times. You can't always just do movies and you're just watching the screen, and you will know how he responds to movies. You won't know other things, so many other things about him. Do you understand? Except you're paying attention to how he's reacting to some of the things that happen in the movie. But expose yourselves to different conditions, different circumstances, so that you can say, this is how he behaves here. This is how he behaves there. How about family? How does he treat his family? How does he treat his family members? What's his relationship like with his siblings, with his parents, with his cousins, with the people who maybe are not siblings, but maybe like servants in the home, or people who are depending.
So look at him at how he treats people at the different cadres of life.
Yes.
Those that are beneath him, those at his level, those that are above him.
Yeah.
How does it? Because those points to intrinsic values that people carry.
Exactly. So pay attention to those things. So don't just say, oh, well, I asked him and he told me his values are integrity, care, and respect. No.
You can find
You have to watch, pay close attention, okay, and be very sensitive. You can even pray and say, God, help me see clearly. Don't allow me to be confused by how much I like his face. Help me see clearly.
And for those that are believers, I'll give you a scripture. 1 Corinthians 2:14 says something. Said, he that is spiritual checks all things. Checks. He examines. He evaluates.
Yeah.
So all things.
Yeah.
So evaluating. There's nothing wrong with that. Do you understand?
Yeah. And keep a journal.
Keep a journal.
I have to say this part.
Keep a journal.
Keep a journal. Keep a journal, because sometimes you allow people gaslight you because you were not keeping records. Somebody said something one time, you just heard it and that was it. You didn't document it. I'm not saying write everything about the conversation, but write the important thing. Example, this guy's position on this matter is this, or this guy believes in this thing. He agrees with it. I don't. Do you understand? Just document those critical things that are to help you decide, is he right for me or is he not? Do you understand?
And
so to finish the thought. So if he now comes back later and says something different and claims that different thing is his true position and he never said anything like this before, no, you must have misunderstood me. You will go and carry your journal and check and say, but this is what this guy said on so day, and now he's saying something different. So you will even establish that he's also a liar.
So
it's not that I forgot, it's not that I misunderstood, it's that he's telling you something different, which means his story is not even consistent, which means he tells lies sometimes, so on. So journal, ladies, everybody, not just ladies, very important in relationships, please. Okay, so I think those are enough practical things that you can do. You can find more by watching a lot of our videos, because we talk about these things. Yeah. Okay, and final question for today. Mr. Batures, are you ready?
Okay, shoot.
Are
you singing this?
Okay, so the final question is this. How can someone differentiate between realistic expectations and unrealistic standards? Realistic expectations versus unrealistic standards.
Okay, I think from this, I hear the question.
Yeah.
But maybe you can address the question. What I hear also, what I'm hearing, or what I want to address is what the question is not saying. Standards. My question is, where did you get your standards from?
Yes.
Right? Before you talk about whether they are realistic
or not,
or unrealistic, where did you get your standards from? What was the education behind the standards that you set for yourself? So, for example, you are a promising young man like me. Promising young man, like I was. I'm showing some promise right now. But as a promising young man, where do you get the standard that as a promising young man, you have to fly business class? As a promising young man. It's not as if your promise has materialized. You get me?
Yeah.
Now, is that standard a bad standard? No, it's not. There's nothing wrong with flying business class if you can afford it and if you have the means to do that. But where do you get the education that that's what makes it a good standard? So as a promising young man, you have to be real to yourself. So one of the things to know is, number one, where do you get your standard? Number two, who gave it to you? You have to be real. Be real to yourself, right? Be real to yourself. And if you are real, I don't need to even be giving you pointers to know whether something is realistic or unrealistic, because it's really about the standards if you are real. So if you are real, you can tell yourself, okay, this is where I am. Because being real is being able to look yourself in the face, look yourself in the mirror, look at yourself in the mirror, and be able to say to yourself, this is Kingsley Bature right now. This is me. This is where I can afford to eat. This is what kinds of clothes I can afford to buy. This is where I can afford to shop. This is where, do you understand? This is the level of life that I am in right now. It doesn't mean there's no place for growth. It just means that this is where I am right now. It now means that whoever I am going to find must be able to deal with my current reality and still have the capacity to join with me to my eventual destiny. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but some people are trying to date their destiny when their reality is not there yet. I don't know if you understand.
Yeah.
So when you are at your current reality, but what you are trying to date is your eventual destiny, it means it's unrealistic because you are not there yet. It takes a journey to get there. So it means from where I am now, I need to find someone that can journey with me to get to where we're going.
Yeah.
That's a realistic standard.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. That's really important. And when you're talking about unrealistic, or when you're talking about realistic expectations, unrealistic standards and stuff like that, see, it really is dependent. It's really important to bring in communication.
Bam.
Okay, because whatever it is that you are thinking in your head, it's just your view, it's just your perspective, it's just from your experience. But when you talk about relationships, you are in it with somebody else. So what you may say is a reasonable and realistic expectation may be absolutely ridiculous to the other
somebody
person.
else, yes. And the person has a right to view it with that degree of ridiculousness.
Exactly. So now it is in communication that you get to understand, what does this person think about this, even though I feel it's okay, what, and so on. So you actually need to have those conversations and walk through a number of issues. A simple one that is plaguing many young people right now is this issue of, she's my girlfriend, but she expects me to pay her rent, buy her clothes, give her all the financial support that she needs, and so on.
But you see, but before you finish this thing, let me even piggyback to the question.
Yeah.
There's expectations as standards do not belong on the same platform. Standards are values. Expectations are preferences. Do you understand me? So your expectations can be unrealistic because they are like the things that you just mentioned now. Those are all expectations. Those are not standards. There's no standard. There's no law anywhere that says, because I'm your boyfriend, I have to pay your rent. Where'd you get that from? That's an expectation. There's no law that says that. There's no law that says, because I'm your boyfriend, I have to pay your bills. Excuse me, sister. I ain't going to pay no bills. I haven't put no ring on it. So do you understand? So that's not an expectation. If I sought you, or if I am caring, it's because it's my value. You are important to me, so I will care for you. But when you are coming at me like it's an expectation, and I have not wedded you, then I have the right to reject that expectation. Do you understand? Yeah. So like you are saying, a lot of young men are just being put under so much pressure. And before you know it, that's why like that question we had last week, that's why the person will be going 3 years. People are doing 3 years, 4 years. You say you are dating and he has not asked you out. Because it's the pressure to marry is much. So let's just stay boyfriend, girlfriend.
Yeah. So that's part of it. You know, that's one side. The other side is ladies saying, oh, but he asked me for sex, and I gave it to him.
So the expectation is straight by butter.
So these are things and it, once again, values drive this. Because if your value is that you will do, for instance, what the Bible says because you are a Christian, for instance, then you know that you're not supposed to be sleeping with anybody until you get married, right? And you won't even be in the position where you'll be saying, but I gave him my body, so he has to give me the
He has
money.
to give me the money.
You
That's
know?
expectation.
Do you
So
understand?
values drive standards.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
well.
Do you understand? Standards are things like you have to marry me before. Those
Mhm.
are standards.
Those are standards.
But a lot of times you see people that, well, let me not say a lot. Sometimes you see people not following the standards, but then creating unnecessary expectations. Do you understand? So discuss these things, talk about it. So it's not that you'll be saying, this person is asking this thing from me, and then you're telling the whole world about how demanding the person is, but you haven't discussed it. So you need to talk about these things and align.
So it needs to align.
Yeah.
So please discuss the preferences, discuss the values.
Yeah.
Don't put
Discuss
them in
the
the same
conditions.
Discuss these conditions.
So if
Don't
you
put
expect
them,
this from me, then this is what I expect from you.
you.
Are you okay with it? Don't assume. Because some of you ladies, you go sleeping around and you are thinking that if I sleep with him, he will take care of all my needs, because it now means in my mind that he has assumed the position of husband.
He will shock you.
He will provide you. You see some guys collecting for free. They'll collect and go, and then they'll tell you, didn't you enjoy it also?
Was it only me?
Was it not
was it only me that was doing it by myself?
Exactly. You enjoyed it, I enjoyed it. So now why do you want me to pay? Do you understand? So if you are expecting something in return for something, you better communicate very clearly.
And,
do you understand?
Bobby, I like that statement that says, says, when you make an assumption, when you assume, you make an ass of you and me.
Yeah.
Let's get rid of the assumptions.
Yeah.
Let's get into conversations.
Yes. Keep it real, discuss it. Don't say, oh, in the heat of the moment I did this and I thought he would and then he didn't. Oh, he cheated on me. Oh, he used me. He abused me. He took advantage.
I think it's a good place for us to close it.
Yes.
I started this show not having time. Right now, I still don't have time. Please, they should read husband material. Read it. Are you seeing me? Husband material. Go and read that book.
Yeah.
The link is in the description below.
Yeah.
Read the book. Bible people says, your words were found and I did eat them and they became the joy and rejoicing of my soul. If you eat that book and you don't find a husband, call me. You eat the book, you do what it says, you don't find a husband, call me, I'll refund you your money. Go and buy the book, buy the workbook, read it. I don't know who I'm vexing for, but it's like I'm vexing for somebody, right?
I can see the vex on your
I'm
face.
vexing for some, because some of you have actually bought that book and then you kept it, and then you are still coming and ask me these questions. Meanwhile, the answers are in the book. Go and read it. After you say, I've done everything, I can't find her, I can't find husband, you can't find what, and you have read the book. Oh yeah, let's debate the book, but we don't have time. We have to go read the book. The link is in the description below. Okay, get business-like about your relationship, because relationship is serious business.
Yes, really important. And I think that's where we're going to wrap this up. Thank you so much for being with us on the show today, and thanks for sending in your questions. I know you got value, so please remember to like and to share this video with other people who need this value. And if you have not yet subscribed, please do so. Yes. So see you next time on Common Sense for Relationships. And like we always say, remember,
common sense is not so common.
Bye.
Let's go.